Okay, so this is the recorded video to the key level session. Believe that in further sessions we will have better recording. Okay. So today we are going to be explaining key levels, and if you can see, you see that price has been moving all the way up here, moving up like this, and then we tap into a demand there. Price pushed up, it did not follow to go up from there. After that, we came down into some demand. So price pushed up, tried to push up, and eventually price came back into that same area of demand and then pushed up from there to sweep this and then did this and then price bought. And so in this kind of situation, normally we are supposed to pick this one out, something like this. So we could pick this one out, considering that it is gold. We might have to wait for confirmation before we pick out a zone that we might suspect of demand or supply. And so, in continuation, let's see what price gives us. Okay, so you can see that price pushed up from here. We had all of this push. Price was reacting here, and then you see that this is where we pushed off from the supply that was here. The supply that was here was the one that got broken. You see that supply that was there was the one that got broken. So, and then we see that price came into that zone. See that price came into that zone because this same zone that was supplied before now became an area of demand for price to tap into. Okay, became an area for price to tap into. Became an area for price to tap into. And when it tapped into it, we saw that there was a push. That means that those who are buyers, they had already taken over this zone now. They have taken over because they were able to break through whatever supply was here, and they were able to establish their presence. And you can see that by evidence that they came back here and there was demand for them to move, and we went up. There's a difference between breaker block and key level. There's a difference between all of that. So key level will be more explained, and you will understand that key level is a particular zone that can work for a while. Okay, it can be a zone that is used over and over again. Buyers and sellers can use it over and over again. So let's see what we have. Let's see what price does. See that okay, we still have the zone. Now look at this. Look at this. After we tapped here the first time, price went back up here, but there was some supply here. Okay, you can see that price was rejecting. We couldn't establish this zone as an area of demand without first confirming that demand in that area. And so we needed price to be able to take out the supply and then sweep this high, and then we are good. So now we see that price was rejected from the supply. So price rejected from the supply, and then we came down, touched it again. That means that there was still some demand in there. And then we went up here again, and then we broke that zone. Okay. So whatever demand that was in that zone had been broken here. And so the next thing we will expect is that okay, let's see if price is going to try, and if price was going to try and do something like this, and then we continue the sell. But now you can see that price did not just retest that zone. Price broke through the supply that was there. Okay, so price broke through the supply that was there. I was able to go ahead and take some of the liquidity that was there. some of the liquidity that was here, price was able to take them, and including the supply that seemed to be here too. And so now that we have price being bullish already, we will now need a little bit of confirmation to be able to tell us that okay, price is actually interested in coming into this area to come and buy. And so we see that price went here, and then we had an inducement here. So that was the first inducement that we had. That's an inducement. Price was trying to touch into a demand zone, and when it's when it didn't touch into that demand zone, it went up and created a new high for itself. And so we expect that by the time price comes back, it should be able to tap into the original demand zone. And so we see from here that price sold down, and we bought. There was some rejection here. Then price bought here, and then we had a test of it. Then we went up. So we can see from here that there was some supply here. There was a supply that price was reacting to around here. Okay, the supply that price was reacting to around. And so we see that price touches into it the first time around, there was a rejection, and the price was able to break through. So price was able to break through and take out the supply that was there, and then we had a little touch into the candle that was responsible for it. So this is just the major candle. This is the action candle now in this case, because this one was the one that started the effort to take out this eye, and also was involved in, was the one that instigated taking out this supply here. So we should expect that by the time price comes back, it will use this candle as demand. Okay, so it will use this candle as demand. And so we see that when price goes and sweeps and does all of that, we have inducement already, and now this is the zone we are looking to buy from. All right, so we are looking to buy from this zone. I'm looking to buy from this zone. And then we will look to target a 3 hour trade. All right, we look to target a 3 hour trade. Normally, in situations, you shouldn't expect that price should go any higher, but in this case, we are targeting a 3 hour trade, and that is to we expect that when price comes, it should be able to sweep and get as high as here. So we have a 3 hour trade here. Expect that okay, let's have price come into there. So one thing you can see from here, we had another inducement that was here. This one went ahead and attempted to sweep the high here, but it couldn't, and so it failed. And when price came, it tapped into this demand, and then off we go. So price picks up from there, and then we have a target achieved. So if you are targeting higher than you should have targeted, at this point you might have to you might be worried that where is price going to. But I want to see that price, that was where price was interested in going. Now you can see one more thing here. After this one has tapped into the supply, into the demand that was here, you can see that we had a transferred demand, because demand now transferred from here, from all the way down here, okay, all the way down here, and that demand transfer to this. And you can see something that we had an inducement here. We had an inducement here. By the time price was aiming to come into this demand, but it didn't. So that's giving us another scenario. And by the time price came into it, this was the inducement, this green candle. This green candle was the inducement. We have some supply here. So price was reacting to this, and then we sold them. So we had that. So you could also say that okay, let's take a trade from here. to take out the high, that price has created the target B. The target will be this particular high, this high here. So that will be the high we will be targeting for demand. Okay, so added little issue here. We had already tapped into demand here. And then we had this happen, there was a little tap into this, and then we bought, and then we had this happen. Okay, we had this happen, we had this inducement, and so we have this zone. From here, there was some supply here, and price broke through it, and then there was this retest. So we could put our entry here too. We put our entry here, and then this is our inducement into the zone. This is our inducement into the zone. And then from there we can place our entry. That was too close for comfort. My entry here. And so we expect to take out this I. Expect to take out this I. This time around, that's our new target. So when price comes, taps into it, and then up we go, and then you see that price was reacting off of demand, up and up and up. So we were able to achieve our target there. We were able to achieve the target here. You see that from here, price was reacting from demand here. So the demand that was here already transferred to this zone. Okay, demand that was here already transferred to this zone, and that was why we were having the demand here. Demand here had already transferred to this zone. That was why price was reacting from it over and over until we were able to uh, have enough volume to take out the liquidity that was there. Now, if you can look at this, you see that price was reacting from a supply, and so we will need to like know that there was a supply that was here, the price was reacting from. So we should look forward to see maybe price would use this zone as an area of demand for continuation, and if it doesn't, then should be prepared to we should be prepared to ignore the zone as an area of demand. So you see from here that price tapped into it the first time, created this bullish candle, and then we sold from there. That was an heavy sell, if you can see. That was an heavy sell, and the price retested it again and then sold further. And so we look at this zone here that we were able to buy from here. See that price use the zone again, tapped into this. Now the question now is this zone going to hold against the supply that has been coming? And so you see that it doesn't hold against that supply. It doesn't hold against that supply. So they broke through it because sellers were very, very interested in uh in selling. So that was why we are down. And now using market structure, we can see that price bought from here, price bought from here. But this high did not take this low. And so we saw that price came into this place and then bought. So that means that there was demand here that price was reacting from. There was demand here that price was reacting from. And then this one now became the next demand from here. So became the next demand from here. Became the next demand from here. And according to the laws of price action, laws of the market structure, we saw that this one was able to take out its high. Even though it didn't break, Even though it didn't break, this low didn't break structure, but still we had it. And so when price was going to come back down, instead of coming to take out this low, price tapped into this demand that was here, and then went up and took out this high, because this high now has failed to break structure to the downside, has failed to achieve the objective that it was supposed to achieve. And so we came and took out this high first. And now we see that this low was unable to, sustain the momentum or to break structure really. So price had to come, take it out as liquidity, and then we can now tap into this demand that is here. And so that is what price does. That's what price does. Price tapped into that demand. Okay. And so we're able to move from there. And now we now have confirmation that yes, we are still very much bullish. And so we see that all of this happened. Price was able to break through the supply that was here. And then we came down and tapped into the candle that was responsible for breaking it. And then we had another supply that was here, and then price was able to break through. I know, and we can see this. There was some rejection around here, so that means there was a zone that was here in this area that price was reacting from. And so by the time price continues, you should expect that price should tap into this zone and then pick up from there. So if you wanted to take a buy, you could also take a buy from. You could take a buy from there, and then you can see that we had a supply, we had a supply zone around here initially, and we saw that price was still able to respect it. So we should remember that we still have the supply, we still have the supply, and so if we are going to take a trade, we should take it with that in mind. And so you can maybe target a 3 hour trade, I guess. Like you target a 3 hour trade into that zone. So we should expect that as price reacted from this and then pushed and retested at this high, we'll be taking, and then we have the 3 hour trade, and then we are out. So let's see what happens. So price comes, goes up into that, and all right. So we achieved that target, and then off we go, and then we have that. So I do not want you to forget that we had a zone that was here before. We had a zone around here that has been going on from here. And I think that might have even been what price reacted to here. So we have that zone, and it continues like that. Then after price has tapped into supply here, it came down. So let's see how strong this supply is. And this time around, we should expect that okay, there should be some sales from there. And so it sells. And when it's sold, it mitigated the supply that was here. And so now that price has been able to take liquidity to the downside, whatever supply, whatever demand that was there, price are taking it out now. So you should expect that eventually price should come and sell from here. So we saw all of these rejections happen before price pushed, and then we saw this one try and tap into that zone. And so now we should expect that okay, price should come into somewhere like here. Price should come into somewhere like here. There was also a supply here. Was a supply here that price was reacting to, and then this one broke it. And so now we have a fail zone. So we should expect that okay, price should sell from there. And now let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Take sell from there. Let's see what happens. So we'll be targeting 3 hour, something to take out this low, because this low was weak, it failed to break structure. And at the same time, we are targeting this zone, this range, so that price can come into this range, tap into it, and probably move forward from there. And so let's see. Let's see what price does. And so okay, we were able to achieve the target. I was able to tap into the zone, it was able to settle down and tap into the demand that was there. So objective has been achieved on that one. Objective has also been achieved here. So this zone that we have here, we should still be able to see if it works. And now we see that price was able to tap into it. And after tapping into it, it bought into this supply, but then the supply that was there was strong enough to be able to push price downward. And then we now have this high. And so now let's see, we could have inducement here into the supply. And now we see that price has pushed into here, and then we have this one happen, and the price tapped this supply that was here. So now we should expect to see price continue the sell here. And this time around, what we are going to see is this area, okay, this area, because this was where all of the push and rejection and everything happened. So we saw that price was rejecting something, and price was able to come down with this huge candle. So you should expect that price should sell from there. And if we are going to sell, what are we going to be going for? We'll be going for this low that was weak, which is this particular low. So you should expect that price should take it into this low. That means 30 minutes. So you should expect that price should take it into this low to take out this low. All right. So you should take out this low. Okay. So let's see what happens. So price taps into that. I was able to take the low. Okay, it was able to take the low. That was a 375 trade. So it was able to take the low and even do much more than take the low. It came down and swept this low too, because this low was also weak. Now I said this low was unable to break structure to the upside. It just came into supply here and sold, and then we kept on selling from there. So now we see that okay, this zone, this particular key level, got a little bit invalidated initially, but then we first had a touch here in the first instance. So let's see if price will still be able to continue and continue to buy. All right, so we see the sweep that was happening here. We see price come down the way here, and then we seem to be buying. So let's see. All right, we still come back into this same area. We're able to buy a lot of that. Price came here and sinking down. So we should look forward to see what price will do. Okay. If we go on lower time frame, I'm sure that we could find an entry to take that sell. So let me just cut it. So now let's say this is already achieved. Now we see that price was able to buy here. I was able to buy here into the supply. Supply was still active, and then we came down, and now should expect that the price should reject from that zone. And we see all of the rejection. Price is still rejecting from that supply. So price sweeps this right there. And then we had price start to come down. So let's see what happens. So we're able to sweep the highs, and then we came down, and the price came here, start sweeping this low here. Okay, didn't even sweep the low, just came into it. And so we're able to buy into that, and then next thing we should expect is okay, what does price do next? And so we see that this happens. So we can mark this zone because we already have some supply that was around there. price was reacting to, and so maybe you might expect some reaction from price. Can we expect some reaction from price? But we can see what price has done around there. So that one is already started. But now I want you to have a look at something. Look at the supply that was here, the demand that was here. You can see the demand that was sorry, let me go back to 15 minutes. You can see the demand that was here. There was a demand here that price took out, we validated it, and then we went and did a touch, and then it came down. So you should expect that eventually when price comes back, you should be able to pick this zone as an area of supply, react from there, and then okay. So price is not react from there again, even come back. All right. And then we still have this key level here. So you see that again, price reacted a little bit from it before it sold down. So sellers were the one in charge of this whole market in here. Sellers were the one in charge of this whole market. So you can see all of the mitigations, the mitigation of demand and supply zones, and we can see the key level, which was here. You can see that price kept reacting around it. First, it sold around here, and then it bought and bought around here, and then we had another attempt to buy from here, and then now we saw price weak into it a little bit, and then we broke, and then we continued, and then we can see that price came again into the same zone, and so price was still reacting from that. So that is what key level is. Key level is a level that price uses over and over again, that demand and supply can use, that is buyers and sellers can use again and again. So that is what key level is. Okay, so it can become an area of supply or it can become an area of demand, depending on what or who is in charge at that time, whether it is a buyer, whether it is the buyers or whether it is the sellers. So that is what key level is.